Hi everyone, in this video we are going to see what is recursion in Python. We will see everything about recursion, how to use them, when to use. So without doing further delay, let's get into this. Hey guys, you can see that I'm in a PyCharm and I've already created a file L18.py. So let's write here lecture 18. And guys, first of all, let's understand what is recursion. Recursion. Alright guys, just you have to remember three words. The function call itself. So I'm going to say function call itself. Alright, so what does basically it means? It means that when a function calling a same function again and again means it's calling itself again and again, that means a recursion is happening there. So basically recursion occurs when a function calls same function again and again. So let me give you an example. You have created a function with the name fun, and here you are going to call this function same function again and again. So I call this function again. So now once it's going to call this function, and inside of this function it will see again the same function. So basically this is going to call n number of times, means infinite times this is going to call. And guys, we have a limited memory, so it's going to call again and again, again and again. So that means we will get some error. But guys, if you're using a recursion in C++, then you may not get an error. Your memory is going to be used until it found a memory limit. But in the Python, you have an error which is recursion error. It's going to check if a function is calling a same function again and again and it crosses some limit which is set by a Python. So then it's going to return an error which is a recursion error. So here I'm going to call this function fun, and you will see we will get an error which is recursion error because we haven't defined any base condition here. So you're going to call again and again, it will not going to break. So let's see that, and you guys can see that I got recursion error. So this is how a recursion occurs. So you need to keep one thing in mind when you are going to call a function again and again, same function. You have to see a base condition. So what is a base condition? It's condition by which your function is going to be break. So we will see everything in this video. Don't worry about that. How to use a base condition and when to call a same function. So I'm going to comment all these things. And now guys, I'm going to tell you everything by just a program which is a factorial program. And guys, if you don't know what is factorial is nothing guys when you multiply by smaller numbers till 1. Like factorial of 5 is nothing, it's going to multiply its smaller number which is 4, then its smaller number is 3, then 2 till 1. So it is 120, we know that. So this is a factorial, and we will make this program by two methods, one by loop and second by a recursion. So first let's create with the loop. So I'm going to write here factorial by loop. Alright guys, now I'm going to create a function with the name define factorial, and that function is going to take a value so that we come to know the whose factorial we have to find out. So I took a value num which is going to store our value, and now guys I'm going to take a variable which is a fact. So initially the value of it is 1 because we know that the factorial of 0 is also 1, factorial of 1 is also 1. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a loop for I in range 1 to num plus 1. So basically I write here num plus 1 because I want my range 1 to num. So what it will do, let me put here comment. I will go till 1 to 2, 3, 4, 5, so on up to num. Num means whichever value we are going to pass in this function. So that's how your for loop is going to work here, and we are going to say just fact is equal to fact multiply by I. So basically we are doing just a multiply, like right here we have 1, now we are going to multiply 1 with the 2, 2 multiply with the 3, and 3 multiply with the 4, and 4 multiply with the 5. So now we have done this, and after that we are going to return our factorial. Alright, and guys here we can use an assignment operator we have already seen. So we are going to do factorial multiply equal to, so both will do work same, and just I'm going to now call this function factorial, and I want a factorial of 5. We all know that factorial of 5 is 120, and we have already seen here also. So let's run this code now, and I didn't get any output because I haven't printed it. So let me print. Alright, now let's run this, and you guys can see that I got value 120. So that's how you can make a factorial program with a loop. And now guys, let's see with the recursion. I'm going to do same program with the recursion. So I'm going to comment all these things. Let me put a comment, and now guys I'm going to define here again same function factorial, factorial, and guys here it will take a value num. Alright, the value stored in num. And now guys I'm going to do something. I'm going to see a base condition first, because every time when you are going to write a code of recursion you need to keep in mind a base condition first. So the base condition is, guys, I'm going to say if a num is less than or equal to 1, then you have to return me a 1. So basically what we are doing, yes, you can see that if the value is 1, then we have a factorial of 1 is 1. If value is 0, means if factorial of 0 is also 1. So we are going to do this thing. If it is not the case, then what we have to do? Guys, remember here what we are doing? 5 is going to multiply with a 4. So we are going to actually multiply with a lower number. So what I am going to do? If let's say here number is 5, let's assume here number is 5. We are going to say you have to return us a number 5 is going to multiply with a factorial of 5 minus 1 means 4, right? So basically 5 is nothing, it is our number. So I'm going to write here num, and factorial of 4 is what? 5 minus 1. So I'm going to say num minus 1. So this is our recursion, and if I just call this function now, we have already calling it, so let me run this now. You guys can see that I got same output 120. If I run for 4, and we know that for 4 the answer is 24. Let's see that, and you guys can see that I got 24. So this is a basic recursion we have seen, and you have to keep in mind base condition as well as how you are modify the function. So here I am just modifying a function with num minus 1. Every time I am decrementing a value of num so that it reaches to my base condition. And guys, if you are still not getting a factorial function, let me show you by a presentation that how this function is going to work. So let me go to my presentation. Here guys, you can see that I call a function a factorial of 5. Initially we have factorial of 5 and we are just calling this. So let me call here factorial of 5, and we are getting 120. So I'm going to do same here in presentation. So I have called a factorial of 5, and what I'm going to do now, I'm going to see a condition. And guys, you can see that this condition is a number is must be less than or equal to 1. So here it's C. 5 is not a less than or equal to 1. So what it's going to return? It's going to return me 5 cross factorial of 4. So factorial of 4 is means 5 minus 1. Now guys, still we have a function. So we have to execute this function first. This is going to again check condition whether this 4 is less than or equal to 1. So we know that 4 is not less than or equal to 1. So it will again return the value 4 into factorial of 3. So you can see that the factorial for this thing has written us this thing. Alright, and again we know that this is going to call this function factorial of 3, and 3 is not less than 1. So it's going to return 3 multiply factorial of 2. So you can see that. And again we know that 2 is also not less than 1. So it's going to return 2 multiply factorial of 1. So now you guys can see that when we are going to call factorial of 1, then we know that 1 is less than or equal to 1. It is true. 1 is equal to 1. So if it is true, then what we are going to return? We are not going to return 1 multiply factorial of 1 minus 1, which is 0. We are going to return a simple 1. You guys can see that this value is equal to 1. And now guys, what we have done? We have reached our base condition. So here we have reached our base condition. So by the base condition, we are going to return back to our main program. So we are going to do backtracking here. We will say now that our value of this block is now 2 multiply factorial of 1 is which is 1. 2 multiply 1 is equal to 2. So you guys can see that the value of this block is nothing, it is equal to 2. So now if we go to value of this block, that means we go to value of factorial of 2. And if we know the value of factorial of 2, that means the value of this block is going to be 6. Because 3 into factorial of 2, which is 2. So value of this block is going to be a 6. So let's see. You can see that the value of this block is 6 now. And now guys, if we know the value of this block, that means we know the value of factorial of 3, because the value of factorial of 3 is depend on this block, and value of factorial of 3 is 6. Here you can see that. So the value of this block now is going to be 4 into 6 is 24. So let's see that. Yeah, we got a value 24. And now guys, if we know the value of this block, that means we know the value of factorial of 4. So factorial of 4 is 24. And now the value of this block is 5 into 24, which is 120. And if we know the value of this block, that means we know the value of this factorial of 5. And what we all want to do? We want to find the factorial of 5, which we got now 120. So at last we got our result, which is 120, and that's our function is going to return. So in program also you can see that our value is nothing, it is 120. So I hope now you understood how does recursion work. It has to reach base condition. Once it reaches to base condition, it's going to do backtrack and it's going to return us our main output. So that's all in this video, guys. We have seen what is recursion and how to use them, what we need for using a recursion. We need a base condition. Everything we have seen in this video about recursion. If you still have any kind of doubt, you can ask in the comment section. I'm always there to help you. And guys, if you like this video, give a thumbs up to this video and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Meet you in the next video. Thank you.